Hmm. Um, oh, let me just say, I don't. Let me just put that.
You just unmuted your mic. Hold on.
I can hear you, Sue, but I can't hear anybody else.
I'm in the same boat.
Can you hear us now?
Yes.
Now I can hear you.
That's because the big mouth was shut off, or the big ear, whatever.
You got to push the button.
The big button. All right, if everybody's ready, it is 5:30. Let's meeting to order of the Kachemak Bay State Park Citizens Advisory Board for February 11th. And I will call the roll. Kirsten Dixon. Sue Christensen.
I'm here.
Nancy Hillstrand. Curtis
I
Jackson.
saw her. I saw Nancy come on. Nancy's here. Or she asked to come on.
We'll circle back. Curtis. Not here. Lynn Seaman. Justice is here. Louis Dupree.
I'm here.
Morgan Banzo.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Morgan.
Hi.
Casey Adderholt. And Alan Sparks. Present. Circling back, Kirsten Dixon. I see something for Kirsten. I want to know if she's here or if it's her note taker. Nancy Hillstrand. I see you, but you're muted. I didn't hear you call her. Nancy, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
Curtis Jackson. Lynn Seaman here. Snuck up on me. Busy looking at this. Yeah. All right. Got 9 members present. We have a quorum. We can conduct business. All right. Next item is to approve the agenda. Are there any additions to the agenda? Let's approve the agenda, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay. All right. I hear no more objections. We have an agenda. All right, let's move on to approve the minutes of December 10th, 2025. We went through several iterations of that, but I think the last one we got right. So if someone would like to make a motion to approve the
I
minutes.
move to approve the agenda December 12th, 2025, or December 10th. 2025.
It's not the agenda, 8 minutes.
7 minutes, sorry.
Alan Parks moved to approve the minutes from December 10th. Casey seconded. Any objections? Okay. Those are approved, December 10th. Next, we need to approve the minutes from January 14th, 2020. Motion and a second.
I need to approve the January.
One second.
All right. Any objections, any corrections? Hearing none, minutes are approved. Move on. Public comments. Love to hear the comments from the,
Yeah, I've got a comment.
step up to the microphone.
Okay.
Mr. Haggerty.
I like the Bad Bunny halftime show better than the football game.
All right.
Robert, this is Hal.
Hi, Hal, go ahead.
Hi. We actually like the Puppy Bowl as an alternative to the football game, but I just wanted to kind of give the council an update on a presentation that we made, or I made a few months ago, about the Kachemak Bay Watershed Management Plan. And as everybody knows, the city of Homer has been going through a process to amend Title 21 of the city code, which is the planning code. There is a lot of some of the conservation groups and members of the public have been pushing for stronger wetlands and watershed regulation. Right now, the city of Homer code has very limited wetlands and watersheds regulations, and we've been steadily attending the Planning Commission meetings on the code changes. It's pretty much going through a scoping process right now. And one of the things that we have, well, long story short, is that the planning team right now is recommending to the Planning Commission that they postpone the any kind of strengthening of regulations, watersheds or wetlands regulations, until they've had a time to sort of work through this process and do some research and meet with the members of the public to discuss a broader regulations. And so we're kind of using this, I guess you could maybe say, kicking the can down the road as an opportunity to sort of insert the idea or the concept of the Kachemak Bay Watershed Management Plan, which and the reason I'm bringing this to the CAB is because we're not proposing just that it affect the city area, but the entire Kachemak Bay watershed. So we're going to be trying to sort of insert our this concept into that process for broader regulations and wetland protections. It's going to be modeled actually a lot on the Anchorage Municipality Watershed Management Plan. So just thought I'd kind of give the CAB an update about that, and we might be looking to you to see if you're interested in partnering on this, as it, of course, as it affects the entire Kachemak Bay area and the state parks lands. So we might be trying to seek some funding and maybe looking for partners, and pretty ambitious project down the road, but it seems like a good opportunity right now to try to insert this idea into the Title 21 code changes. So so thanks very much for listening to that, and I'll keep everybody posted. Thank you.
So that planning group is different than the planning commission for 21? It is.
It is the Planning Commission, yes, the City Planning Commission. That is, and they're, like I said, they're in the scoping process right now. They've had a bunch of planning work sessions on ideas for changing the code. It's a great opportunity to get some stronger regulations for protecting wetlands and waterways.
Thanks for that, Al. Anybody else from the public? If you're online, please raise your hand. Yes, Mr. Parks.
Thank you. Aaron Peterson asked me to read something during public comments. Is it okay I read that or? Okay. So this is from Aaron Peterson and it's not coming from me at all. And it reads, it's a email sent to Eric, the trail person with the state. Hi, Eric, you asked for a plan for the existing social trails in Cottonwood Eastland if they were to continue. See the plan below, including one picture. Parking at the trailhead. See, this is needed for trail maintenance along with the sign, Kachemak Bay State Park, Cottonwood Eastland, that existed for many years. Signage is important and needed. The social trail loop C to D could continue, as should the trail from D to H, not existing. It would be nice to continue the trail from H back to C. So does not need dead end. And last, Camille Yarrow and I flagged a trail from B to around the sawmill toward Homer and a loop that went toward the bay east and connected to the existing trail that exits south of Point C. Thanks for considering the continuation of these established trails that I've hiked for about 18 years and others for longer, as these trails were here when my family and I bought the property in year 2000, more than 25 years ago. Also, these trails were brushed and maintained by volunteers for all these years until we were stopped from brushing 3 years ago because we were told there was erosion. See attached map. Thanks, Aaron. That's Aaron Peterson. And he asked me to read that, and I did. It's not coming from me.
Thank you, Alan. We might have a little discussion on that a little later. Anybody else from the public? All right, we have no visitors this evening, so we'll move on to State Parks report. First one is the superintendent report.
All right, good evening, everyone. What happened in the last month since our January meeting? As previously brought to the board here probably a year or so ago, the state's had an opportunity to move forward. So, Harry P. parcel on Luke Island, geography is outer coast here. I know this would be the second purchase by 5 years. University of Alaska came back to the state with an opportunity through the conservation fund to purchase the property. So in the last week, we had the first initial environmental assessment done on the property, which is just so. My knowledge, that will be the last remaining non-state park parcel on that. So simplification of management for state parks. Keep that moving forward. In here, that's progress there. Our standard business goes for parks. We're working on hiring our hosts around the region. Hire about 20 hosts. Sometimes here that would mean for how to go. Otherwise, it's our to see to the north of here, shipping everywhere. So I'm going. Host a host so far this year, which is exciting. One of the room knows a bunch of the work State Park does, rides in the backs of volunteer efforts, and hosts are part of that effort. So it's real simple. Just a reminder that it's open. Taking applications for advisory board members. So you know folks that are interested in being on the advisory board, staff, fill out an application and send it to and just a couple last things from the list here. Brief board last month, but we do have a governor's hiring freeze on right now that requires a process for us to hire any more positions. That includes our seasonal positions. So, a few weeks ago, I submitted waivers for those positions. No, those are being submitted to the commissioner's office. No word back on those at this point, but it would be helpful to us if we could get some assistance from the board. Understanding the urgency of those positions, as everyone knows, who works in a seasonal environment. The candidate pool shrinks pretty rapidly. So the sooner we can start to offer, the better for state parks here. So for us. And I can provide more information to you on the details of that, Robert, or what that might look like. Then just lastly, based on the comments about as we formalized trail development at Cottonwood Eastland, Mark's been critically about any other social trails that would maintain. That's for a couple of reasons. One is for park user safety, right? As the trails that are built.
So if you guys that are online, could you mute yourselves? We're getting, thank you.
Yeah, sorry guys, that was probably me. I just realized. Sorry.
Thanks, Kirsten.
So yeah, we understand there are other user groups out there besides, the Homer Cycling Club and partnering with to build the trails at Eastland. And as those groups that have perhaps used that landscape in the past for recreation come forward, it'll be important for us to have some meaningful interface with them about, how their use might fit into the new project. And at this point, our stance will be, we're going to hold off on any formal maintenance of social trails, I guess, like oxymoron, but maintaining those social trails until the umbrella of the project is completed. Then there may be an opportunity for, as other users have opportunities or have social trails that are used for history to letting those trails with the project at this point. Complicated the current project again. We can, if anybody has a discussion about that or as the project moves forward, we'll certainly can chat.
Yep. Any questions? Yeah, it would seem that is the best way to go about the issue of social trails, is to see how the bike trails and the proposed hiking trails are going to lay out over there, and see how they interface with social trails before you begin to think about trying to maintain those or brush them, or the community uses those as social trails. They will, just the use alone kind of keeps them clear. So as far as having any formal.
Yeah, thanks for that, Robert. The use is obviously.
Yeah. Yep. Mr. Chairman. Alan.
Question for Hans.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Hans, are you guys going to do a site visit to Herring Peak, or have you?
I have not. We have, park staff has in history, but I would hopefully this summer site visit.
I see. Cool.
Yeah.
That's really good news. That's exciting that the state's getting access to that.
I will, to the extent possible, share the document I can with the group here. How's that sound?
Yeah.
I'll double check to see if it's transaction. But, it's got a little document, photos, etc. Repeats was that it's 24 acres occupied. My understanding is from about 1920 to 1970. So
A little history out there. And that was through the conservation fund. So if you see Chris Little, give him an attaboy on that. I think they worked really hard on that.
yeah, they stuck with it. I think through that duration. So very.
We got attaboy on that one and a attaboy on the saddle tree property. So go ahead.
Question about one of the things you mentioned in terms of a letter support rainy seasons. Can you just do that, or do we need to take action because it's timely?
It is timely, and if you folks want to take action and give me permission to do that, Hans and I will work together and figure out who is going to be the best recipient of that, whether it's going to be a legislator or the commissioner, DNR.
I would make a motion then that we authorize Robert to write that letter, but in support of hiring the seasonal staff, and we'll prefer to yourself to decide who of us.
I'll second that. If we're accepting motions now,
Yeah, get her done.
the second.
Are there any objections? Good. I will work with Hans on that. We'll figure out who is the best recipient. Was there a hand up?
Yeah, hi, this is Kirsten. I have my hand up. So I just want to say that I followed that Nuka Island land very closely from the time of when the university put it up for sale, and then the governor rescinded that piece of property to potentially put it into carbon offset program. And I know that Chris Little worked very hard on that project, as he did on the other two previous projects that he's worked on behalf of the Kachemak Bay State Park land allocations. And I know that the Conservation Fund didn't receive, like they tried to do some fundraising and they didn't receive enough, they didn't receive enough money that they put into it. And so just to keep him doing his really incredibly great work, I do think we should hard recognize this guy, because I mean, none of us were able to do that. And to approach the university to sort of negotiate privately with them and navigate the state process. And so I really think that's such a high value piece of property for the park to acquire, and I'm super proud that we are able to, and it's a super cool piece of property too. And I just like to do something for them, either somehow, I don't know what, but
Thanks for that,
it's a
Kirsten.
remarkable gift.
Any suggestions on what we should do besides throwing a party? We can't.
I mean,
do that.
helping him fundraise, because his bosses want him to somehow not have these projects cost them a lot of money, at least be self-sustaining somehow. At least they get to 0.0 when they're so I don't know what he needs, but a conversation with him, how we can support him, what we could do for him if it is a fundraising event or effort. But yeah, sure, party, yeah, and whatever, but maybe we could just see how we could support his continuing efforts, because we want him to continue, because he's really magical at how he can land manage, so mhm.
Thanks for that. So maybe I could talk to Chris Little and find out what would be the most meaningful for the Conservation Fund. They're going through him to their bosses and the such, whether it be a letter to the editor or something, social media. And we did try and do a fundraiser once before for the Saddle Trail property. And
Yeah, and Robert, that was pretty non-dynamic, really. And so but we could do better, and even maybe somehow making sure that his boss and his boss's boss know how important he is to our community and what great work he has done here in Alaska. That's something I don't know. It's just a pretty, it's a pretty quiet program, and I don't, yeah, um a super capable person at doing the work he does. And even if I don't know what, but even if I don't know how we could ongoingly support him, I don't know what his next thing will be, but honor him somehow for sure, and raise money for him, for them, for us, right? Yay.
Always open to suggestions, open. Well, I can work with you a little bit on a letter because you actually seem to be right on top of Mr. Little in the conservation fund. So if you'd be
Yeah.
willing to work.
Happy to.
Okay.
I mean,
great.
I don't know what that would be. I don't know if we need another committee, but if it's somehow we have some sort of, people in our team, if people, people on our board that are community outreach with others, or, somehow like we're helping these other partners that we do have, and supporting them, and seeing them, appreciating them, whatever. I don't know, Hans, do you have any, like, in other sectors of your world, do you have any other people like Chris Little? I mean,
Not specifically that I can think of. I mean, Chris represents, my knowledge is the state, but I don't, I've only.
yeah, sure. No, right, that there's two people in the conservation fund, and they're, it's the whole state. And, Chris lives in Homer, so we really benefit from that hyper focus point of view in some regards. And Kachemak Bay State Park is certainly worthy of all of their efforts and all of that land being saved. They're highly valued targeted pieces of property that have been acquired. But yeah, so I don't know. I'll give a think to it, and I'll put some words together that actually make sense, and get them to Robert, and we can go from there.
Yeah, and I'll talk to Chris too, just to.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kirsten.
Well, I was just gonna make a light comment that I think we ought to have a party at the site once land is purchased.
I think that's a great idea.
I mean, it would take a number of votes, and I would volunteer to do that. It's logistically challenging.
It is logistically challenging.
I think we should just have a party at Tetka Bay Lodge. I think that's really what happened. And, if they could get it fully catered with transportation and music, and, that's what we should do.
That's not a bad idea.
I know, it's a great idea. Who do we talk to?
That's right. If we have
Right.
connections with them.
I hear we do, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in.
You knew somebody was gonna catch you, Chris. Anything else for Hans? So we'll work on a letter to the commissioner or legislators. I have some legislators in mind, if anybody else does, that are receptive to state park issues. I think we need to hit them, just to try and push that along a little bit. And it's the commissioner of DNR that has to approve those, apparently. Yep.
Along those lines, I think that it's appropriate to send specifically to our local representative, regardless if we think they're going to support us or not, because we need to have them on the record of what they're willing to do for us.
Okay.
Absolutely. And if they're not willing to support parks, we need to know that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well spoken. Anything else? All right, we'll move on. Eric, you keep giving me your written report.
It's very short.
It's very short. You want me to read it?
I can read it.
Oh, okay.
All right with it. Usually I send it out in email to everybody, but just didn't end up having time this time around. Didn't help with Eastland. I did reach out with the help of Camille of finding a contact within the municipality of Anchorage, Parks and Rec that deals with single track advocates and how that relationship within this municipality and single track advocates, which is helpful for us as we go forward with development of trails in Cottonwood Eastland. She was able to answer some questions on how they go about stuff. So that was really, really helpful. And I could share that email with anybody. Nothing really earth shattering or anything like that, but people on the board would like to see that. I can make copies of that. And then I have down here we're reviewing the SUP, the special use permit for phase 2 of the flagging. And that should be going through very soon. And for stuff going on in Cottonwood Eastland. I just got back from being on an extended vacation, and so attended the Friends meeting at the beginning of February. I'm in the process of purging, cleaning, and organizing bunkhouse and garage of tools, equipment, and gear. Stuff that is torn, stuff that can be repaired, and stuff that we might not keep down in Homer, but might send up to Morgan's Landing, or just like bigger tools that could be used in other places like Seward and having it central, which will give us a little bit more space down here in Homer. Going through volunteer apps and ACC application and just trying to, allowing people to see where they're at. Then I was also up at Gruen Lake yesterday, checking on the trail counter, downloading the information from that, and then also checking on the emergency equipment stuff that the KBA STAR people put out there for ice skaters. And nobody has touched it or used it or anything like that. Things were all taped up. Beautiful day on the Gruen Lake, snowing and no wind. That's what I got.
Thanks, Eric. Any questions? Right. We'll move on then to committee reports. Listen, you had something. Okay. When do you have to leave?
25.
All right then. We'll let friends go. Do you have a report, Mr. Haggerty?
Yes. Friends of Kachemak Bay State Parks met on Monday, February 2nd. We have some money, right around close to 62,000 in the bank, which is going to create a larger 990 that we have to work on for tax purpose. That's kind of a new thing. Allison O'Hara is doing a bang up job putting the search and rescue service together, SARS, and there were like 18, I think 21 participants is what I've had, 18 graduated from the class. So we've got a pool of volunteers in case we lose more people over there in the park. Casey's updating our website. On SARS, and Allison also got a grant from I think Homer Foundation. So that's a happening thing. SARS is so. And then Casey's updating our website. Kids Across the Bay is we're coming up with a schedule for this summer, so we're going to do that again. And last year we got like 100 kids over to the park on various trips, and I think I've already gone through that. But that was very successful last year, and hopefully it'll be just as successful this year. we're gonna have a budget meeting on the 26th, I think. 2 weeks from today. And so we're gonna come up with the budget for the Friends. And I just want to mention that Chris Little is a board member on Friends of the Park. So, he's a bit of a celebrity tonight. I just say he's on our side.
Thanks, Marco. And I do want to point out that this Kachemak based search and rescue group, these guys got certified by the state. They had a lot of people from troopers, the rescue coordinator from the valley. Yeah. They even had a trooper helicopter come down here. So it was a great experience and a learning for everybody that attended that. And I'm really impressed with Allison O'Hara and her tenacious enthusiasm to get this going. So. Okey doke. Thank you. Water trail.
Yes, Dave Fran here. Short update, but Robert and I met with Tender Tom, our webmaster, and he gave us some highlights on how to move forward into upgrading the Water Trail website. Helpful for Robert, not so much for me, because my computer and I weren't communicating that day. But anyway, I learned some stuff, and through that, Tom is being very, very generous. He said he's happy to meet with us anytime to do detailed stuff or, help me get me on where I am and that kind of stuff. Talked to Taz Talley at the gathering that the trail meeting put on, and he's willing to donate some new pictures to upgrade the front of the website and some of the other things going on that way. So that would be fun. Related to pictures, if some of you have pictures related to the water trail, people kayaking or any of that kind of stuff, you can send them to me if they're ID. Don't just send me pictures in a pretty picture, but let me know where it is or that kind of stuff. And Tom will help us get that online also. Let me see. So other than that, we're headed towards the end of April work party. I just talked with Eric. We'll have a recon trip to line out some of the specific things. I sent out a list to most people here of the things that could happen or that I just from my little bit of knowledge over there. And so I'll catch up with Eric closer on that, and we'll have a day for 2 or 3, 4 of us to go over and walk through and make a list of what we will have volunteers do. And kind of figured that 8 to 10 volunteers would be a manageable number to work with. So they're saying we're going to be staying at the cabins for 2 nights, go over one day above whatever the tide says, morning or noon time. Be there that night, Friday night, be there all day Saturday night, come back Sunday according to the tides and so on. And so once we get our list together, then I'll reach out to get people to sign up as a volunteer. Then we can decide on whether everybody's going to do just individual meals, hot dogs or whatever, or whether to do a group, gathering meal. Roger McCampbell wrote back and said, he suggests group meals for night, breakfast, and everything. So I was going to write back and say, you in charge? I'm learning that from this group, but so, and then just a reminder about the May events coming up. May 20th is a paddle film festival. The 22nd, we'll have the social at Grace Ridge, which is generally free oysters, salmon on the grill, that kind of stuff. I'm working with Robert, even though he doesn't know it yet, working with Robert on a slideshow that Lisa Holzhoffel and her friend did in the early days of the water trail. They started at the switchback. I dropped them off there and they paddled down. I guess they got as far as Kayak Beach, spent 10 days doing that. So hopefully that we'll be able to do that slideshow that evening. And talked with Randy Keeler. His hip issue isn't healing as much as he hoped, so we won't be doing his kayak safety classes. Allison said she might be able to help us out with doing a 1-day kayak safety class like she does with her kayak guide. So, but Randy won't be doing that. So anyway, that's it.
What date is the film festival?
Say it again,
The film festival, when is that?
May 20th at the Porcupine Theater. And I don't know the time yet. And I think last year it was like $15 a head or something, and it was a good fundraiser.
Yeah, we're scoping out movies that'll be shown at that.
Yeah.
They're just clips, but it's really kind of fun, so. They have all kinds of stuff you can get. Silas is working on that, so. All right. Hey, you're off the hook. I don't see anybody with questions. Cottonwood Eastland, that's Camille Johnson.
Thank you. So we had the Eastland Trails Info Night the weekend after the last CAB meeting at Grace Ridge, and it was packed with no standing room. In fact, some people couldn't get into it. And what this does is just really illustrates the strong community support and interest in this project. A vaulted toilet, you know, we are constantly talking about outhouses. The Home Recycling Club is working with DNR to see if we can use land water conservation funds to get a vaulted toilet out at Eastland. Ideally, we had hoped that we'd be able to tie this into the Evelyn vaulted toilet install this spring because Eastland is just down the road. However, it's going to have to go through a whole new grant process with the land mining water conservation funds. Home Recycling Club will be paying the 50% match, which today would be $65,000. Those toilets cost $130,000. So we're looking at, before they can actually probably install it, it's going to be 2018. So it probably will be $75,000 at that point in time. It's a concrete toilet. It's one of the regular Parks concrete. It's got a concrete vault is what it is. And one's going in at Evelyn this spring. And so we would like, I mean, eventually we would need something like that out at Eastland. So Reese Miranda, who you all heard speak at our last meeting, he is the director of engineering and construction. He's going to be coming down in June to be kind of looking at the site and plus look at the entire Eastland Trails project and see if we can't work out some other deals with him, maybe for some other phases. We keep constantly trying to work out some deals with Reese. We'll come up with something. He's very helpful. He really is. In the interim, Home Recycling Club will need to install some kind of a pit toilet out there. Originally, we were talking about putting one in using one of the parking spaces for one, because we thought we'd have to have it for a much longer period of time, but we really hate to use up one of those parking spaces because they're going to be the parking spaces, I think, are going to be a premium. So what we may do is just simply put a pit toilet in for a season and a half, or we may end up renting a porta potty. We'll just wait and make that decision this spring on what we're going to do with that. Flagging special use permit. We are working on the special use permit for the flagging, detailed flagging, which hopefully will take place in late April, weather depending. We have contracted with John Underwood at Happy Trails for this. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Camille. Evelyn State Recreation Site, is Nikki or Judy with us? I then don't see her. We'll just move on. Nancy, you have anything for your Habitat Committee?
Nope, nothing right now. Thank you.
Okay, and we're down to the Trails Committee report with Alan.
Thank you. Robert. Let's see, the Trails Committee met prior to this meeting, and we reviewed what Aaron Peterson had sent to the board, and we don't have any recommendations other than that we think that, you know, given the fact that there's entities actively collaborating with the development of that area, that we kind of feel like anything ought to go through them. And at some point, as like what Hans was saying, once that is complete or at a point where they can come to a kind of a, at some point in their process, either complete or some point, they might consider, or they would consider other options for other stakeholders. But for right now, you know, just having everything go through the current project is kind of what we ended up doing there. So nothing recommending with that. And then with the Trails and Tales Committee, or Trails and Tales event that's happening on May 16th, we talked about that. We talked about specifically how we would coordinate training with friends and with Camille on specific events that would happen to help train, and exactly what that is kind of under discussions and when it would happen. We did kind of lean toward having it between the Trails and Tales event, which is on May 16th, and Trails Day, because the main motivation of Trails and Tales is to help support friends, collect a solid volunteer base. And so we're kind of working out the details there. The speaker, I'm talking with, have a conversation today with Roman Dial about coming down and talking at that event. And he seemed super excited about coming down for that. And so I'll be reaching out to Kathy Sarnes and figuring out how that might look. And I'll bring it to the Trails Committee next month, or electronically. I'll let people know. And then blah blah blah. What did I miss?
Got it.
Did I get everything? Then that concludes my committee report. Well, that might be the next agenda item.
Any questions on that?
Any questions?
Thank you for your Trails Committee report.
Well, thank you for thanking me.
All right, let's move on to item 9, which is old business, and we item A with that is the monthly public speaking events. And Alan, you are.
That would be me again.
Yes, it is.
So we had our first speaker event last Thursday at the Methodist Church, and it was awesome. Went off without a hitch. There were about 25 or 30 people there. And Taz gave a great talk about his adventures in Kachemak Bay State Park and beyond. In the winter, went over his clothing, and it was, what did I say? It was a cross between a very great presentation and a Saturday Night Live skit. It was Taz is a great speaker and entertaining. And so then the next event is on March 5th. I think I got that right, March 5th. And it's Marilyn Sigmund. And if you don't know Marilyn Sigmund, she's a retired wildlife biologist and environmental educator. She's wrote a book, Entangled, about people and ecological change in Alaska's Kachemak Bay, which won a Burroughs Award for outstanding nature writing. And it should be, she's got a great perspective on on the history of the bay and the people involved in it and the impact. And I think it's going to be well attended and a great event. Then on April 2nd, again, it's Tom Kazaya on the history of advocacy in the park. And then on the 30th, it's Aaron Lang on birds of Kachemak Bay. So great speakers, and hopefully we'll find out about Roman. And if not, we'll get Roman down here at some point, because he's definitely an Alaska icon of adventuring and advocacy for Alaska's beauty and nature. So there you have it.
Question, Alan, would you be willing to send an email with those?
No, I would not. No, you got to remember it all right now. That would require another word. Yes, yes. I think I did send something out, but I'll send that out again.
Good. I sure couldn't remember.
What's your name?
What?
Who?
Thanks, Alan. Now, you're doing a great job on this.
Well, thank you for thanking me again.
Yes,
That's twice.
I know.
God, that's amazing.
You're blushing.
I'm not. You're gonna have to do more than that.
Thanks, Alan.
Yeah.
All right, then item B under old business was public fair information, again, education. And I know we kind of touched on that earlier, and I just threw that in there because Sue asked me to, and we hadn't really come up with any great ideas other than we have permission to put up some fair educational stuff down at the harbor. And there is lots of stuff available through Fish and Game, I do believe.
I was,
Mr.
We did pass out the bear at the event on last Thursday. We did hand out the bear awareness brochure that is really good.
Yep.
And I think part of the thing is we as board members should keep a handful of that and have it handy in our pickup or in our bro purse or whatever we're carrying, and hand them out, talk about it. Hand them out, talk about it.
So I have to admit that bear aware folder, I think it's probably one of the best handouts I've ever seen. And it is a handout, and I don't know what the availability of more of those are, because we've just about exhausted our goal.
I guess I should raise my hand, but this is Sue.
Hi.
Maybe we could, I was just hoping that a committee could have a date and meet on it and come up with really specific presentation to the board. This is what we want to do, and for the next meeting. So maybe Nancy and then the board, of course, we can finesse it or figure out what's right. But May is coming up quick.
So then I would entertain a question to the board if anybody has time to be on said committee.
Maybe Nancy and I could meet, or even if that's a small, Nancy, I'm making you commit to it, but it's your kind of your thing. And did I hear somebody else say they'd be willing?
Justice Sky.
Great, Justice. Yeah, that'd be awesome. So I will take it upon myself to call Justin and Nancy and see if we can come up with a time for a Zoom call. Nancy, are you still in Kodiak?
I am. I'll should be back around within a week or so.
Okay, that sounds great. And Justin, are you around?
I'm around. I might be gone for a week this month, but otherwise, yeah.
Okay, and I'm across the inlet now, but I'll be home in a week or so. So I'll call both of you guys and maybe we can get together in person. That'd be awesome.
Good.
Great. Okay, that's all. That's good. Thank you, Robert.
I think that if you guys are gonna, thanks, Robert, this is Alan. I think if you're gonna meet, it'd be good that you let everybody else know you're gonna meet, so that in case we have the opportunity to join, we can.
No, they all have to remember.
We don't have to remember.
Yeah, if the, if the opportunity comes to the day that you're doing that, some people might want to show up, so.
Okay, we'll see, huh? I think that's good. It's just sometimes, yeah, informal things can make things happen a little faster, and then once we get some framework, but I will let you know.
Okay, great. Gotta go.
Thank you.
See ya.
Sorry, I have to leave.
Anything else on bear information, education? We have lots of ideas, but nothing really finalized, so. And I know to get those brochures is probably gonna cost some money. All right. Business. Have none. Informational material. Can I share something on this? I got that trail cover. And I think there's some pretty phenomenal. Let's see if I can do this. Allow team knowing event screen. No, wow. Says I can't do it. Select window or screen. But I want screen. No, that's not what I want. That's what I want. No, I guess I can't do it. I have it on my desk. I have it on my desk.
I think you have to.
I don't know what this is.
I could be on that drop down.
This one.
Yeah. Sorry, just.
While Robert's working on that, this is Kirsten. I just want to mention back to about the bear stuff. I just sent Robert an email, and you may have already gotten this, but it's from Jen Woolworth, who's a program manager at National Parks Conservation Association, and they want to create a bear guide, Alaska Bear Guide Association. And so they, just like with, I don't know, uniform training for all the bear guides going out to Katmai and other places, from Homer predominantly. But I just sent that along just as an FYI, maybe he can circulate it if anybody's interested in knowing some more about this bear guide program, bear viewing business.
Nice, Kristen.
All right. So I don't know if I sent this out to everybody, and I don't know if people know how to read this because it goes by the days. Camille, can you help me out with this?
Yeah. So it's the week column is week ending at the very top. It's January 1st, 2025. And I started over with last year because I do have years worth of data. And then so that's each week. So for that first one, Cabin and Coil had 43 visitors, Evelyn 32, Rogers Loop 211. And then as you scroll all the way down and see your summertime weeks, go down to June. Then you can see that's where we started getting the data from across the bay and also Diamond Creek in there. And it's just a comparison of all the different trails and the activity on those trails. The trails that don't have data, Canyon Rim, it's too icy to get up there to really get the data. So there's that is blank for a while, and that trail counter is fairly new. It's only been there for a year and a half. And then we'll add, we should be able to add the Gruint data in there, which should give us everything since it was last collected, which will be very interesting to see what's going on in the winter time over there. But you can look at that, for instance, column F, I think was the Gruint data. It gives you an idea how many visitors there are during that time. And we get on down, if you scroll on down to the bottom, you'll see what's going on right now. Not as much activity. All we've got there are Rogers Loop, Evelyn, and Calvin and Coyle. Calvin and Coyle gets a lot of use. It's a busy little trail. Evelyn is getting a fair amount of use. Some of that Rogers Loop data is because of the people going in and working on the shed in there, but who the heck cares? It's people who go in there.
So there's some big numbers going over to,
There's some huge numbers.
going across the bay, going
Yes,
up
there
to the
are.
lake.
Yes.
That's what these guys are.
Yes. And that's weekly numbers. That's 1,000 people a week going over.
And Robert, for people that don't read numbers like I don't, I had spent more time last week. I wrote down the months beside all the way down through. I sent it to you, I think, but I'll send out some more. I wrote down the month and all that, and then I totaled up all the numbers so you don't have to try to count them yourself. And at the bottom, I know they're on the chart there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
still, I've got a thing that I can just send out that says, okay, there are these many people that visited during this time period and so on. So, yeah, so some of that math is done for you.
And I am doing it by week. Originally, I mean, I think there was one time last time or a couple times ago when I sent out I did it by month, and people requested that I go back to the weekly format for it. And I do send it out as an Excel. Obviously, somebody could go in and, change the numbers. The reason I do this is like for the Calvin and Coyle people, they take their data out of there and they use their data a very specific way. Other people may be using this data. Hopefully they're not manipulating the data. I could always convert this to a PDF if anybody's concerned about whether it's real data or not, so that you can't manipulate it, although these days you can manipulate a PDF. And if anybody needs to see the data in any other format, I mean, I can do all that, what you're talking about. I can certainly do all that with a particular trail or with a group of trails, total it and all that kind of stuff. It just, I don't want to be doing things unless people are going to use the data. My philosophy is don't collect data unless you're going to use it. And if somebody has a different need for this data, knowing that I do have this data and they need it in a different format, you all need that. Evelyn especially goes back many years. I can certainly give that to you. I can give you yearly data, monthly data, totals, blah, 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 anything that you want on that. So just feel free to reach out. I just started including the parks people in my email list because I know that you now have an interest in the trail counters. And my list of people that I'm sending it to has gotten bigger as more people have expressed interest in having this kind of information. And if there's anybody else who is interested, I'm happy to add them to my list.
Thanks, Camille. You saved me. All I gotta do is figure out how to get off of this thing. Stop sharing. There. No, you're not on this. All right. Last thing is board members' terms. So there are some people on this board currently that their term will be up in June. Louis, your term will be up in June. Sue, your term will be up in June. Casey. And Morgan, your term will be up in June. So if you want to stay on the board and come back and help us in September, got to put in an application. Okay.
Thank you, Robert.
You betcha. All right. I guess we're on to comments of the public. Is there anybody in the public that would like to make a comment? If you're online, please raise your hand and I'll recognize you. Anybody here? I see no hands up. I see nobody jumping up here to say anything to us. So we'll move on to comments of the park staff. Hans has nothing. Aaron has nothing.
I have nothing.
Eric has nothing. Comments of board members. Stu Christensen.
No, thanks for driving down, you guys from Soldotna. And thanks everybody for being here.
Thanks, Sue. Kirsten Dixon.
Thanks, everybody. I'm sorry I was a little late today. I'm in Anchorage for the next 2 weeks and I miss home so much. I want to go home, and I'll see everybody when I get back down to Homer.
All right, we're gonna see you at that party over at the. Thanks, Kirsten. Lloyd Dupree.
Yep, nothing for me. Just thank everybody for being there.
Yeah, thanks, Louis. Morgan.
I just want to reiterate, Camille, that trail data is amazing. Thank you so much for collecting that and sharing it. It's awesome. So thank you. And thanks to everybody else for being here and all the great work that's going on.
Thanks, Morgan.
Nice to have you back.
Great to be back.
Nancy Hillstrand.
Yeah, I also want to, the trail things are, it's just absolutely great. And Camille and Dave, I'd love to meet with you or call you on the phone or whatever to talk what's going on the West Coast Trail and what they use for toilets there, which is composting toilets, and they do not provide toilet paper. And, you know, it's just a matter of learning a whole new way of thinking about what to do with our human waste. And, you know, so anyway, I'd like to talk with, you know, we brought it up before. We have one in the park. I know it does take a little bit of maintenance, but anyway, I'd like to talk to both of those guys and see if we can figure out some other options other than the old style of chemical, all that crap. Anyway, thanks so much.
Thanks, Nancy. Did I get everybody online, board members? I think so. Glenn Seaman.
No, nice short meeting and everything to add. Just the sky. Nothing for me.
Morgan.
Like the Morgan here.
That's an honor for me.
Yeah, just briefly, I was a lucky participant of the search and rescue training, and I just can't say enough good things about it. It was absolutely fantastic. The people who joined us for 3.5 days, a full weekend and then some. I took time off work for this. Other people did too. We had a trooper coming on his days off from Clam Gulch to join us for the training. It was just incredible to see people learning with each other, bringing the experience they already had, and then gelling as a team. Because by the fourth day, we were really actually being able to function as a search and rescue team, which is good because we are now a certified one that could get called out. So I just want to thank our instructors for the course, which were Mark Steiger and Susan Whiten from MATSAR, and then also Lieutenant Benjamin Andres, who's with the troopers who flew down on that helicopter with Meg Hammond, and the pilot Stephen Ritter, and Kachemak Emergency Services for donating their facility for us. The whole. Anyways, very excited about that group. Hopefully we won't be needed, but we will be training.
Questions? Well, thank you, Morgan. Thank you, Morgan.
Well, Morgan, if I could add on that.
Just don't call on me for search and rescue because I did not do the training.
You know, we came to our Rotary Club to make a presentation, and you know, we talked about the incredible energy. It was very obvious enthusiasm, and showed pictures of all the things she did. It was a really fun thing to watch. You know, this happen.
Casey, thank you. Might bring us a little stressed out.
It's all good.
Anyway, I think we got a lot going on in this area. I think the bear thing is gonna be lots of ideas there. The search and rescue thing has really taken off, and I'm really proud of you and Allison and everybody that put that together, because if something happened right now, there's a cohesive group of people that know how to function. It's gonna be a lot better than it was with the French lady who lost over. It was Mitsinski. At least she could self-rescue, so. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. We had just about everybody tonight, so. Thanks to the people of the public that came. And I'll keep limping along. Anyway. I don't have anything else. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is March 11th. Probably have a trails meeting, a regular meeting at 5:30. Good, we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Night, Phil.
Thank you. Good night.
Night, Kristen. Yes, I.